Hello my viewer, welcome back to Kate's Crochet, and today I have this nice pattern. It's called Granny Spider stitch pattern, and the reason as to why it's called so is simply because it has granny stitch pattern and the spider pattern. So now this one is worked in multiples of 21, so you need to make this in any multiple of 21 plus a chain of 4. So now we are going to do this today. It has been requested by many people, a group of people who would like to do this, and this pattern is great for scarves, and I like it for table runners. Is absolutely beautiful on table runners. So now we start on this. I'm using this color. It's brown or carrot as we call it in yarn, and it is Winter King 100% acrylic, and this is the color number or the shade, right? Yeah, those are the details for this. And I'm using this hook, 3mm hook. So now, as I've said, we are working this in multiples of 21. So in this I did 42 chains plus a chain of 4, so in total 46. So now we are going to start this, and I'm going to make a chain of 42 plus 4 chains, so in total I'm doing 46 chains. 1 2 3 4 5 6. So I'll continue until I have my chain. So now I have my chain, and now to start on the first row we are going to skip the 4 added chains. So 1 2 3 4, and on the 5th we work a double crochet, and in the same chain stitch we work 2 more double crochets. So we are working clusters of double crochets, 3 of them. So I have that one, sorry, I skip the next 2 chains, and on the 3rd I make another cluster, that is 3 double crochets in that same stitch. Do not make your stitches too tight. I skip again 2 chains and I make another cluster. So on the 3rd from here I make another double crochet cluster. So now I have 3 clusters, this one, and this one. So now from here I'm going to chain 13. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 and 13. And down here on the chain I skip 5 chains, and on the 6th it's where we are going to be working on. So 1 2 3 4 5, and on the 6th we make, you hold your work nicely, and on that we make another cluster. Don't worry about this chain loop here which is too loose. I know at now it doesn't make sense, but it will later. Again, in the same stitch, make 2 more double crochets. All right, skip 2 chains and make another cluster. We have 2, so when we look here we have 1 2 3 4 5 6. So we are going to work 6 clusters. Make sure you skip 2 chains between a cluster and the other. So make another 4, and I'll meet you once you have the 6 of them. So I have 6 of them, 1 2 3 4 5 and 6. Again, we make another chain of 13 as we did here. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 and 13. And as we did on the other side, we skip 5 chains down here. 1 2 3 4 5, and on the 6th we make a double crochet, and in the same stitch we make 2 more double crochets. And as we began here with 3 clusters, we end with 3 clusters, so make 2 more clusters. So here I have mine, and I'm left with only 2 stitches. I skip the next one, and on the last one I make 1 double crochet to finish that, just as we started with this chain that we skipped, which is acting as a double crochet. And we come to that to the end of that row. I know it looks funny, but don't worry. So we chain 3 here, we turn our work, and on the same stitch where we just chained at the base here, we make a double crochet. At the end of every row, in every row, we shall be alternating. For this granny, we have 1 double crochet here, we have 2 here now. So in the next we shall have 1, in the other one we shall have 2. So we shall be alternating 1 and 2, 1 and 2. So now we skip this space, and to this space between these 2 clusters we make a cluster. So we make 3 double crochets in that space. All right, we skip these 3, and in this space we make another cluster. So now we have come to this long chain that we did. Now we make a chain of 6, 1 2 3 4 5 and 6, and inside this long chain here make a single crochet. Don't worry about where to make this, just make a single crochet inside that chain. It is not on any specific stitch, so you just make that chain, that single crochet there. Make another chain of 6, 2 3 4 5 and 6, and now we come to these other clusters. So in the first space between the first and the second cluster, make another cluster. So 3 double crochets in that space. In the next space, do the same and work these clusters until the last space. So in the first row we had 6 clusters. In this row we shall have 5. So as the pattern grows, the number of granny clusters reduce by 1 in each row. So I've done mine. I hope you too have done yours. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Again, we've come to this long chain. We make a chain of 6. We do as we did here. Make a single crochet inside there. It is not on any specific chain. Again, chain 6. We come to these other clusters and work 2 clusters. So in the first row we did 3 clusters, and in this row we shall have only 2. Okay, so we have only those 2. And now we have this last chain here. We do, since we have this one, we have 1 stitch here. Now in this row we shall have 2, as we began with 2. So make 2 double crochets there. Remember, we also began with 2. We chain 3 and turn our work. So now in the previous row we had 2, so now we shall have only this one. And in the first space here we make a cluster. In the next space here we make another cluster. And we've come to the chain, so we make a chain of 6. And now we have this first loop, this first space, and this other one. So in the first space here we make a single crochet. In the previous row we made 1 single, so we also make 1 single crochet on that single. And in this last space here we make another single. So now we have 3 singles here. In the first row we had only 1 single, so we chain 6 and we continue making clusters in these spaces. So you make clusters until you in the previous row we had 5, so in this row we shall have only 4. I told you they are reducing as we grow. So continue doing this. I'm making my last cluster. I have 4 here. I make a chain of 6 and we do as we did with the other part. A single crochet in this space, single crochet on the previous single crochet, and a single crochet again on this space. Again we make a chain of 6, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and we make clusters on these two spaces. A cluster is 3 double crochets in one space. So in the beginning we had only one double, so we finish with 1 double crochet on this first double crochet. On top of that we make a double crochet. So we chain 3 and turn our work, and we just continue doing this until we are left with one granny here, as you can see here. So you continue here, make these clusters, make a chain of 6, make one single here, single crochet on the ones here and another single here. So in every row you shall be adding 2 singles, one here and another one here, and crochet singles on these existing single crochets, and do that on both sides until on this center part where we have grannies you are left with only one, and I meet you when you have one cluster. So I'm done with that one. As you can see, I have only one cluster here, and in the beginning here I only began with 2 doubles, no granny on this side on that last row, so only 2 doubles, then the chain, single crochets. You should have 9 singles now. That again that chain, 1 granny, the chain, 9 singles and the chain, and finish with 2 doubles. So now we are done with the lower part of it, because it is formed by 2 parts. This is the lower side. As you can see, the spider, this is half done, so we have already done half. So now we want to grow the upper side, which is now the reverse of what we did here. So now to continue this, you chain 3 and turn your work. Alright, so now when you turn, there is no granny here and we want to create it. So what we do is we finished with 2 doubles here and we have 1 here. So in this space, just after these 2 doubles, we create a cluster. So we work 3 double crochets to start forming the clusters again. So we have that. Again, chain 6, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And now previously we used to crochet here in this first space, but now we are skipping the first stitch and the last stitch. As we were adding 2 stitches or 2 singles in every row, we are now reducing 2 in every row here. So we skip this space and skip the first single and single crochet in the next one, and you also leave the last one. So in the previous row we finished with 9 singles, so when now we reduce 2 here, we are going to have only 7. So make sure you have 7 singles. Okay, yeah, I already have my 7 singles. Again we chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. we only have one cluster here. We want to create 2 more, so we make a cluster here and another in this space. So make one cluster there, skip this one cluster and make another cluster here, so that in this row we have 2 clusters. As you are reducing also the clusters by 1, again in this pattern going up, we shall be adding 1 more. You remember we started with 5. In the next row we reduced by 1, so we had 5 until now 1. So now we are adding or creating 1 more cluster in every row here. So again, chain 6, do as you did with the previous spider. So skip this first single and work in the next, and work until you are left with 1. So again you should have 7 singles. I have mine. So we are on the last bit of this. Single crochet or make a chain of 6, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Again create a cluster here because there is none. So in this space here, just before you add you end the row, you create a cluster there, and then we end this row by 1 single crochet on top of the first chain. And now the upper side has started growing. It might not be understandable right now, but when it grows you'll get to see it. So now we continue, chain 3, turn your work. So now we have 1 double crochet in the previous row, so here we need to create another one. Skip this cluster, and in the next space here make another cluster. Make a chain of 6. Again we are going to reduce this by 2 singles, so we skip this first one and the last one. So we had 7, so in this row you should have 5, 2, 3, 4 and 5. You also skip this space, sorry, skip the first one, go to the second, again we make a chain of 6. In this space here make a cluster, 3 double crochets in that space. In this space again make another cluster, again in this space make another cluster. So in this row you should have 3 clusters in the middle part. So again we chain 6, and we do a reduction, skip the first stitch to the next, and we leave this last one. We make a chain of 6. We have one cluster here, so we want to create another one here. We make 3 double crochets in that space. We skip this cluster and we finish by making 2 double crochets as we began. So double crochets in that last stitch. Alright, to go to the next row, we chain 3 and turn. Now we have this space here. We make a cluster there. Create another cluster after this one. So in that space, make another cluster, 3 double crochets in the same space. We are to the chains, make a chain of 6. We do a reduction, skip this first single, and now in this row you should have only 3. Make another chain of 6. We come to this space, we create a cluster. We have this space, we make a cluster. We have another space, we make a cluster. We have 3 clusters. We need to make another one after this cluster in this space, so that in this row we have 4 clusters. So now make a chain of 6. We come to the spider pattern. We skip this first. We go to the second and we work 3 singles here. We skip the first and the last. Make a chain of 6. We create a cluster here. We come to this space, a cluster. And now to the last stitch. We have 2 in this row, so in this row now we only make 1 double crochet. You can see already it's formed. So now we go to the next row. We have 4 clusters and we started with 6, so we want to work until we have 6. So continue doing this until you are left with only one single here and 6 clusters, and that you will work only in the next row. So do that and I meet you. So now I've come to the end of this. I did one single and another single, and up here it's done. So it's like that. So now if you want to continue doing this, you only need to repeat what we did in the first row. You continue until you have one granny here, and now you continue doing what we did on the upper part. So now when you look at this closely, the one that I've done, we have this one having this loose end and this one is straight. This is when you want to continue, you chain 5 as you are normally doing, and assuming you've already done your piece and you've reached your end point, you chain 5 as we were skipping only 5 chains here. So if you want to finish your work, chain 5. If you want to continue with your work, chain 6. Oh sorry, this is 13. We were chaining 13. So in the first row here we chained 13, and this is 13. That is if you want to continue. If you've reached your desired size, you make a chain of 5 to match the first beginning chains. And this is how this stitch looks like, and this is how basically is worked. So thank you so much for viewing this to the end. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe if you've not subscribed, and please share this with your friends and family and comment down below. So thank you for viewing, and God bless you. God bless you. Goodbye.